Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wiping over the socks in the Hanbali school. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Salatu salam ala Rasul al-Kareem. ربنا تقبل منا زدنا علما وحكمة وهدى أسأل الله أن يوفقنا لما يحب ويرضى اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما أعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا اللهم آتنا نفوسنا تقواها وزكيها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها اللهم هم شيوخنا Amma ba'd, all the praises belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything happens in the world by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may Allah's blessings and peace be upon His final prophet and messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And today we're going to talk about the Hanbali school, the Hanbali fiqh, about wiping over the socks, massa al khuffain. And these are the points that are mentioned in the Umdah by Ibn Qudamah al-Maqdisi. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon all of them. And the wiping over the socks, massa ala khuffain, that's one of the issues that a person they can do. If they're in a state of wudu and they put their socks on, then they break their wudu, then they can wipe over the socks. They don't have to take it off and put it back on. So let's go through the points over here. You want to read the first point, Noe? What's it say?
Is it allowed to wipe over?
No, it is allowed.
It is allowed to wipe over khuffs and what resembles them from socks.
Yes, to wipe over them. The khuffs, the word that they use in Arabic is khuffain, which are the leather socks that they use. And the ulama, they have different rulings based on that. And what a person they could do is when they make the wudu under certain conditions, instead of taking those socks off and washing their feet, then they can just wipe over the khuffs. So that's the main point about this section on wiping over the khuffain, wiping over the socks. Okay, read number 2. Number 2, what's the point?
Thick that make firm the feet.
Yes. So the point over here is as-safiqata allati tathbit fil qadamain. As-safiqata, that means they have to be thick socks. They can't be, according to the ulama and in the Hanbali school, they can't be very thin and transparent and other things like those types of socks. That's the ulama they say. And that's usually the ruling for it, that these socks, they have to be the thick socks that are firm, that are solid, and that make that are firm on the feet. That's what the point that the Sheikh says. On the khuffain, that's the issue that you have on the leather socks on the khuffain that the person that they wear. Okay, should we read number 3 now?
And boots.
Yes, in Arabic the word is jaramik. And I tried to find out what it refers to. This is something that people that used to have in the old days. And the good translation for it is boots, because what that is it goes up above the ankles, a little bit higher up. And people, when they use those boots or galoshes and things like that, that's what that refers to. And that's one of the meaning of jaramik. But it refers to the socks that are extended higher up, much higher up than just the ankles. And so that's what the Sheikh said. The good translation is boots. Because nowadays what happens is people, they wear the socks and they wear the shoes and the boots and things like that. So, the boots, they could be given the same, it could be given the same thing as the socks, even though it's something that's on the outside. And some of the ulama, they say that also, that the shoes, as long as they're like equivalent to the socks as well. So there's a different opinion of the people that follow the Hanbali school on those issues. So jaramik is the word that they use, and the good translation is boots, but more like socks boots. Well, that is, instead of the hardcover ones, if you want to be literal about the meaning for it. Okay, should we read number 4, Noe?
That which covers the ankles in the state of minor purity.
Yes. So what happens is these socks, they have to cover up to the ankle, the leather socks, the khuffs, and a person, they have to put it on in a state of minor purity. That means in a state of wudu. if they just put it on and they weren't in a state of wudu, then it's not allowed to wipe over them. And that's the main point, that they have to put it on in a state of wudu, and it has to be above the ankles. And that's what that point is there. So that's the main point. And you'd be surprised that what happens is a lot of people, they don't realize that to wipe over the socks, they think you can do it any time. But the issue is that you have to put it on in a state of purity, and then therefore afterwards you can wipe over them afterwards. Okay, so the point is that you have to put on the socks while you're in a state of wudu, the state of minor purity. And the term that they use in the taharat al-sughra, you have taharat al-sughra or taharat al-kubra, and what they mean by that, the minor purity means that you're in the state of wudu, and the major purity, that means that that you're not junub, that you're not, you didn't have the sexual relation, and the money and the semen came out, where you have to take the full bath. So that's the difference between the minor purity and the major purity. And minor purity, that's what that refers to, the wudu. Okay, read the next point, Nawi, number 5.
Is it allowed to wipe one day and night for a resident?
Yes. Okay, so if a person, they are a resident in the city, and they put on their socks in a state of wudu, then they can keep wiping it for one day and night. And that's what the view in the Hanbali school, and that's what they go by. And that's a little bit different than in the Maliki school. In the Maliki school, they say there's no time limit on how long you can wipe over it. But in the Hanbali school, they go by one day and night, as well as the other schools as well. The majority of ulama, they go by that. 1 day and a night after, to that a person, they can wipe over their socks if they are a resident. Okay, and what's the next point, Nawi? When they're a traveler, then how long is it? Number 6, you want to read it, Nawi?
3 days and their nights for a traveler.
Yes, so if a person, they're traveling, musafir, then they can do it for 3 days and nights. And to be a traveler, there's 2 different opinions in the Hanbali school. One is that it's got to be when a person, they're staying there less than 21 salats, and the distance they're going is more than 80 kilometers. That's one view. And the other view is what they call the urf, and what is known and defined as a traveler. And then if that's the case, a person, they're a traveler, then they can wipe over the socks for 3 days and nights. Not just 1 day and night, the time is extended for 3 days and nights if the person, they're a traveler. Okay, let's read the next one, number 7.
From the time of breaking the wudu to what is similar to it.
Yes, so it talks about time frame, when does it start. The Sheikh, he mentions, is when a person, they break the wudu from that time and what's similar to it. That's when the 1 day and night starts, and the 3 days and nights when that starts. He's going to explain it more in detail on point number 9. So that's point number 7. From when you break the wudu for 1 day and a night, and 3 days and nights when you're a traveler, from the point where you break the wudu. Yeah, G number 8, Nawi.
The saying of the Messenger of Allah, may Allah blessings and peace be upon him, a traveler wipes 3 days and nights, and a resident 1 day and night.
Okay, in Arabic it says, لِقَوْلِ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم يَمَسَّهُ مُسَافِرْ ثَلَاثَةَ أَيَّامٍ وَلَيَالِهُنَّ وَالْمُقِيمَ يَوْمًا وَلَيْلَةً. So that's a hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the traveler, they wipe over the socks for 3 days and nights, and a muqim, a resident, they do it for 1 day and night. So what happens is, in the Hanbali school, you find that the Sheikh, what they do is they go by the hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Imam Ahmad Ibn Hanbal, he had a very vast collection called the Musnad Imam Ahmad. And what he would do is he would base the rulings and things like that in the school directly from the hadith. And that's why he mentioned those points previously. It comes directly from the hadith, as well as most of the major points, the summary of the things in the Hanbali school, directly from the hadith. Second, okay, now we read number 9.
And when you wipe and the timing ends, the state of purification ends.
Okay, inshallah. So what the Sheikh, he said that the timing starts when you break the wudu, and then what happens is, after the time runs out, that is the 1 day and night, then the state of the wudu runs out for the 3 days and nights, and the state of the wudu runs out. Then you have to do a regular wudu after that. That's what the Sheikh said on this here. And again, keep in mind, sometimes in the Hanbali school, you have different sections of the Hanbali school where they have the time, the starting and the ending of wiping the shoes. And this is what the Sheikh says from Ibn Qudamah on the explanation. He says that the timing ends after a person they break the wudu and 1 day and night occurs, then a person they're automatically out of the state of wudu. And likewise for 3 days and nights, if a person they're traveling, once they break the wudu and then they're wearing the socks, and 3 days and nights after that. That's point number 9. Okay, read number 10, Noe.
Or remove it before the purification ends.
Yes. So if a person they take their socks off, after they wiped over it, then automatically their wudu is broken. That's what the point is here. So if a person, like for example, at Fajr time, a person they woke up, made the wudu, put on his socks, then at Dhuhr, they wiped over their socks, and then at Asr time, they removed their socks. Then what happens is they broke their wudu at Asr time, and they have to do the wudu again, wash their feet again. That's what they're saying. So he's saying that the wudu breaks if a person, they remove their socks. Okay, let's read the next point. Number 11.
Whoever wipes as a traveler then becomes a resident and travels again, completing the wiping of a resident.
Yes. So what happens is if a person, they went to the travel, so they have 3 days and nights, but then they came back to home and became a resident, then the person, they traveled again. So what happens is he has the length of 1 day and night. He doesn't have 3 days and nights, because you have that point in the middle where a person, they change from a traveler to a resident. So you go by the lesser of the two timings. Okay, so what this means is if a person, they were traveling, they had the 3 days and nights, and then when they got back to their home, then what happens is because they're a resident, then the timing is 1 day and a night. So in that case, the person, if he was more than 1 day and a night traveling, then it gets down to the lower amount, and then the person, they have to wash their feet. They have to do the wudu and wash their feet because the timing exceeded the amount of time. Okay, inshallah. So that's number 12. Okay, you read the next one. Number 11. That was number 11. Number 12, Noe.
Number 12.
Yes.
And it is allowed to wipe over an amama.
Yes. So one of the things is that you wipe over the khuffain, the leather socks, and the amama is also the same ruling. And the amama is what a person, they wear on their head. One of the things about the socks I had mentioned, I forgot to mention in the beginning point, the Sheikh, he said it had to be thick socks. The question comes up, can a person, they wipe over the cotton socks? And the ulama, they say if the socks are transparent, they're very thin, then it's not allowed to do it. And the cotton socks, it's the view of Ibn Taymiyyah that the cotton socks, they take the same ruling as the thick socks. So the people that go by Ibn Taymiyyah, who is a scholar in the Hanbali school, they say it's fine to wipe over the cotton socks. But you have the other ulama and the other madahib, and also the other section of the Hanbali school, they say it's not sufficient on the cotton socks. That's what they say. They say it has to be a thick, firm one, like the Sheikh had mentioned in the beginning. So that's one of the things to keep in mind. However, what you say is the majority of people in the Hanbali school, they follow the rulings by Ibn Taymiyyah, so they would say it's fine to wipe over the cotton socks. But if a person, they go by the other schools, then they have more strict definitions on the wipe the sock. Okay, so the next point is that the same thing with the amama. If a person, they put on the amama, sometimes it's difficult for a person to remove it. So what they can do is, if they put it on the same ruling in the state of wudu, then they can wipe over the amama. Okay, to read the next one, Nawi, after that.
Which one?
Number 13.
If the ends of the amama cover all the hair except for what is normally uncovered.
Yes. Okay, so the amama says it's not just a tiny one, but it's one that covers all the hair, except might show some of the hair that's normally seen in the amama. but it covers the majority of the hair of the amama. So it goes into detail of what the requirements are for the amama for a person to wipe over it. And again, the amama is like a cloth that a person, they have to wrap it a particular way around their head. And the thing is, it is quite difficult for a person to remove it and put it back on. So a person, they have that leeway. Otherwise, if a person, they have something that's easy to take off and do it, so it's easy enough to remove it and put it back on. You know, like a kufi, like this one over here, it's easy enough to remove it, wipe it, so there's no need to wipe over it. But amama, because it's a cloth, if a person, they take it off, then it's a it is more difficult to put it back on. So then a person, they have that leeway for the amama. Okay, do you read the next one, Nawi? Number 14.
And from the conditions of wiping on all of these is that one put them on in a state of purity.
Yes. So the same thing, I mentioned that previously. In order to wipe over the socks and wipe over the amama, a person, they have to put it on while they were in a state of wudu. If they put it on not in a state of wudu, then a person is not allowed to wipe over them. Only if they put it on in a state of wudu. If they're in wudu and they put it on, then that counts. Okay, now what happens is there's an interesting ruling about this that sometimes people, they overlook, that sometimes people, they do. Let's say a person, they go and they're washing their feet. So what they do is they wash their right foot, then they put the sock on the right foot, then they wash their left foot, then they put their sock on the left foot. So can a person wipe over the socks in that case? The answer is no, they cannot, because they put the sock on, the right sock on, and they weren't in a state of wudu. So then it's not allowed for a person to wipe over it. So that's a very interesting ruling. So that's from the conditions of it, that a person, they have to be in the state of wudu when they put these socks on or when they wear the amama, the complete state of wudu. Okay, inshallah. All right, inshallah. Let's go to the next one. Nawi, we want to read number 15, which talks about the bandages.
It is allowed to wipe on a bandage.
Yes. So what happens is, if a person, they get injured and they put a bandage, and if the water is going to harm the person, they can wipe over the bandage, because also the place where a person, they normally have to do the wudu, so they can wipe over the bandage instead of having to wash that particular place, because they have the bandage on. Okay, let's read the next one. On the second page.
If one does not extend it beyond what is needed to where it is loosened.
Yes. So the bandage, what happens is, this is talking about a bandage, a person, they normally apply to the place, but a person, they don't want to be excessive. If there's just like a small part that's injured that needs to be covered, then a person, they cover the whole arm with a bandage, then obviously that's too much. So it should be like what's normally covered under a bandage. And it shouldn't be exceeding what a normal bandage would cover. So that's what we're saying. It's not to be excessive when a person, they put a bandage or a cast on, where a person, they can wipe over it. Okay, so read number 17, no way.
A man and woman is the same in this, except the woman does not wipe over it on another.
Yes. So what happens is, the Sheikh, he mentioned, for the man and the woman, the same ruling applies. The woman, if she wears the socks in the state of wudu, then she can wipe over it. If she wears head covering, then she can wipe over the head covering. And the woman, she doesn't wear an amama, obviously. Amama is just the men that they wear that. And what the amama is, it's a towel that the person, they wrap around their head several times. And the women, they don't wear the amama, they wear the scarf. And the women, they are allowed to wipe over the scarves. That's what the ulama, they say. If that's the case, if it's hard for her to remove it and things like that, so it takes the same ruling. And the bandages also, they apply for the men and the women. There's not a difference between them. That's what the Sheikh had mentioned. Okay, inshallah, so let's stop over here. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayk, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. So these are the basic rulings that comes from the school of Ahmad Ibn Hanbal. And what happens is, sometimes in the new generations, you have new issues that come up, And it's a job of the ulama, the scholars, and the people of knowledge of those generations to give the rulings on those new issues that might arise in the new generations. And again, these things that people that they say, it's not allowed for a person to say things from their own feelings and opinions, but they have to follow, the knowledge that came, the flow of the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, inshallah, so let's stop over here. If anything I said was from the ilm, then accept it and follow it. If there's anything else that's besides that from my own self, just disregard it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Okay, Noe, did you have any questions?
No.
Want to take your video?
No.
No? Okay, any questions or comments?
No.
No? Okay, did you know these things before?
No.
No? Okay, that's what it's about, to learn the ilm. Person, they acquire the knowledge, they learn the things. People, they don't follow things from their own guesses and opinions. And Jazakallah khair, thanks for watching the video. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best, and the peace and blessings. Sallallahu ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahu alam.